Isolation day 68, bank holiday Monday the 25th of May. I hope you're all well and you're looking after yourselves. I wanted to show you my latest decision tree, and the reason for that is, again, as you saw yesterday on the overview, I wanted to show you how often I'm still going low and where my concerns lie. This is page 1 of 2. Starts at 2:52 in the morning. You can see I'm taking my blood throughout the night as much as possible. Low in the middle of the night, 2.8, 12 grams of carbs, took me back above 5, and had breakfast at 9:24. The carb to insulin ratio was 21, which is a dramatic move already, but you can see that within 3 hours my blood's back down at 2.8. Now, what I'm not sure about at the moment, and my question is, how do I know if this is my basal or my bolus rate? Now, after a bit of research, the answer is that you've got to do a 24-hour fast. I'm going to give that a few days before I decide to do that at the moment. I'm going to, and this is mainly the reason, because you can see here, my 21:1 carb to ratio, because I had to adjust, what you do is you put the 45 grams, divide it by the 1.425 units, and that actually gives you 31:1. Okay, then at lunchtime, my bloods were 4.6 here, so lunch was okay, 70 grams of carbs, 28:1, 2.475 units. And I went low again. The first concern is my background insulin and whether my background insulin is still too heavy. I'm sure it is. I'm positive it is because of the number of hypos I'm having. My other concern is that I'm using Chronometer to put together the carbohydrates and the grams of carbs in all of my meals. In everyday life, I wouldn't be counting things like a quarter of an onion of carbs. Now, strictly speaking, as I've said before, that's what I do need to do, so I'm doing it at the moment. I'm counting every little morsel of food, and the carbohydrate value in there. What you can see here is, look, that was 28:1, went low, was still low 4 hours later, which I'm assuming this one is in relation to the food, this one is in relation to my background insulin. But look, if I put them together, the 28 turns into 39. And then an evening meal, 60 grams of carbs. So look, again, 30 grams of carbs for breakfast, 70 grams for lunch, 60 grams for dinner. Unheard of for someone who comes from a sort of keto background. But the interesting thing is, it's not shooting my blood sugars up. In actual fact, I'm going low. So hypo again after eating, 8:42. 19 grams of carbs up to 5.7. That turns this 28:1 carb to insulin ratio to 35:1. If I show you page 2, again, 11 o'clock at night, 1:44, hypos again. So in one day, I've had to take correction doses for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 low readings. That's incredible, isn't it? Basal insulin down at 18.55, considerably down from where I started 2 weeks ago. And you can see my overall carbs, 257, injected insulin, 24.575, actual carb to insulin ratio is now over 10, 10.4. So what I'm going to do is, 1, reduce my basal insulin across the entire day. The only time I'm not going to reduce it is from 12 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the morning, because once I get within range, it does seem to stick within range. So I'm going to leave that. Every other hour, I'm going to reduce it by 0.025 and just slowly move that. The second thing I'm going to do is to revisit the carb to insulin ratio, and I'm going to increase them. I'm not going to increase it as far as it's as it states on that decision tree. And I know that is against the purpose of having a decision tree. The issue I've got with it is those moves are really quite sizable, so I'm concerned about doing it. I would rather take a stepped approach and take somewhere in the middle, which I believe you can do anyway. So that's what I've chosen to do. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plan to have a 24-hour fast near the end of the week. And I'll show you how that goes throughout the entire day. Now, the difficulty with 24-hour fasting is if I go too low, I believe the fast is over. So I've got to do a little bit of research and I'll come back to you on it. Other than that, I hope you're all well. I'll speak to you tomorrow.